Okay, Broncos country, looks like we are live, but you guys know the drill by now. We've got to let this stream breathe for just a second here and make sure that everything is nice and stable all across the YouTube platform. Welcome in, Broncos country, to this Denver Broncos Syndicate live stream. I'm your host, Gage Madrid. Let's go ahead and let a few people start streaming on in here before we get started. While we do that, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button as well as subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today. I would really appreciate that as well. The link is in the description below. Help support me, help support the channel, and help support everything in general. So let's go ahead and say hi to Turtle and to Maverick, saying I'm liking the constant streams. Thank you so much. I like doing them. So we've got 24 people in the house. Let's go ahead and get into this news. Does it affect the Denver Broncos currently? Yes, no, maybe so. It depends on how you interpret it. But I definitely think it affects them in the future. Let's go ahead and bring it in. Bingo. So Ian Rappaport on Thursday Night Football, he does a couple of pregame reports for Amazon. He said that the Broncos were in on Stephon Diggs before he signed with the Patriots. In fact, it was between New England and Denver.
Down to the
head and to what Ian Rappaport had to say here. I got to be careful just so we don't get a copyright claim, but let's take a listen to this.
So Ian, Diggs coming off that ACL injury. So what's New England's approach when it comes to signing him as a free agent?
Yeah, signing Stephon Diggs was the end of a decades-long quest for Mike Vrabel, who did get him, by the way, 3-year, $69 million deal. Vrabel recruited Diggs out of high school when he was an assistant at Ohio State. Didn't get him, was mad about it. When Diggs became available this spring, his agent sent video to the Patriots just 3 months after the ACL tear. He was running, cutting, good sign ahead of schedule. It came down to the Broncos or Patriots. 5 months from passing a physical, the Patriots signed him, a big-time leap of faith.
Yeah, Stephon.
So, ultimately, Diggs got a 3-year, $63.5 million deal from the Patriots. But the Denver Broncos were the other team that was in on this. That means Denver is looking to upgrade their wide receiver room. They did get Pat Bryant. They also signed Trent Sherfield, so they got a couple of pieces to upgrade that room. They traded away a piece as well at the cut deadline this past August, trading away Devon Vele. But it does seem Denver is still interested in trying to upgrade their wide receiver room based on this here from Jordan Schultz at the trade deadline a couple of weeks ago. Denver and a few other teams reached out to and monitored the Dolphins about Jalen Waddle, but no deal got done because Miami's asking price was simply too high. I was hearing a first and a third round pick plus more. So what that tells me is the Denver Broncos are still monitoring this position, and if somebody becomes available this coming offseason, it would not surprise me at all if Denver pounced. I think they're going to be super aggressive bringing in a wide receiver this coming offseason. And when we look at some of the free agent guys who are available, you've got George Pickens, Wan'Dale Robinson, he might be a decent fit. Tyquan Thornton, who's kind of revived his career a little bit in Kansas City. Alec Pierce, who had a monster game against the Broncos. You've got Romeo Doubs, who's a free agent. De'Ami Brown's had some nice moments here and there. I don't know about Calvin Austin. You got Jalen Naylor. He's had some nice flashes for Minnesota. Rashid Shaheed, who we've linked to the Broncos in several previous instances. You've got Hollywood Brown, Christian Kirk, maybe. Jacoby Myers, maybe the Denver Broncos are interested in that. If Jacksonville doesn't want to re-sign him, I imagine they will, given the fact that they traded for him. There isn't a whole lot there outside of those players. Mike Evans, maybe a Timmy P reunion. But I do believe the Denver Broncos are going to be aggressive if not in free agency, then possibly the draft or even through the trade market. I think Denver is going to put significant resources into getting a wide receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and bring myself back in here, and we will go ahead and start chatting it up with you guys. But I know that a lot of people are going to be asking about what this deal was. So I'm going to go ahead and type something up real quick. Just bear with me. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and just put that there. That way I don't get 1,000 people asking me what the news was here. So let's go ahead and start chatting it up. Turtle and Maverick. We got Sean saying good news. Hopefully, let's go Broncos. Again, not exactly current news per se, but it could affect the Broncos in the future in terms of this coming off season. We'll see if they want to be aggressive or not. Tight end and wide receiver needs big time. I definitely agree. Those are two positions that Denver definitely needs some help. Maverick says we need a route runner. Absolutely. And obviously, that's why I think they were so interested in Jalen Waddle. Stephon Diggs, he would have been a nice piece working the short to intermediate areas of the field, even the deep areas of the field, finding those voids in zone coverage. He went over 100 yards tonight. He's looked really good coming off of that torn ACL. I can't believe people actually want to trade away Sean Payton. I know, it's ridiculous. I can understand if the New York media is talking about this, but the Denver media is having these conversations. I'm sorry. That is just ridiculous. There is no reason whatsoever to trade Sean Payton. I got spun up about this in my video that I did about it, so I don't necessarily want to get spun up again, but yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Maverick says we need a separator for sure. We got Melissa in the house. Good to see you, Melissa. Hope you are doing well. Computer Blue says we need a Wes Welker type. Well, maybe there you could consider somebody like Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is definitely somebody who would be that Wes Welker type, and he killed the Broncos out of the slot in that Colts game. We've been talking about Denver and wide receivers forever, and nothing has ever happened. But it's not for a lack of trying. Denver was in on Diggs. Denver was in apparently on Jalen Waddle, but the price was just too high. So I do believe Denver is ultimately going to be aggressive. Please tell me JK and PS2 are playing Sunday. Unfortunately, I got bad news for you there, Rayanne. It doesn't look like we're gonna have either one of them out there. Quick crack, please. Hey, the only thing I do is smoke weed, brother. Literally, I don't even drink alcohol. That's the only thing I do is smoke weed. I still need to fully watch that video to see if my prediction is correct. Spoiler alert, it is. There was a Gage rant in that video. Were they looking at Emeka Egbuka? I don't know, but they weren't going to have an opportunity to get him. No one was going to be a trade partner for Denver. Tampa Bay wanted him, so even if they were looking at him, Denver wasn't going to get him. But this coming draft, they might be more aggressive in terms of trying to trade up to get a wide receiver. I believe the team thinks that wide receiver is one of the missing pieces that they still need. They still want a Z wide receiver, somebody you can put in motion, a guy who can do damage in the short to intermediate areas of the field. That's the type of player that I believe the Denver Broncos are looking for. I have not started scouting yet, so I don't know which receivers in the draft would fit that bill. Any of you guys out there who have some suggestions for receivers in the draft, please put them in the chat. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But we'll see what Denver wants to do. I think they're going to be aggressive one way or another to get another wide receiver in this building. Maverick says we were definitely looking at Egbuka before the Bucs snagged him. Yeah, I imagine if he were there, they probably would have taken him. Because even though Jahdae Barron was a top 10 player on their board, Emeka Egbuka is still a premium position, and he would have been more of a position of need for the Broncos. They drafted Barron with the intention that he was going to be their starting nickel. Jaquan McMillan just didn't relinquish the job in training camp and the preseason. So I don't know what would have happened there. I do feel like they would have probably targeted Emeka Egbuka if he would have been available with the 20th overall pick. This receiver class doesn't look as strong as others, but hopefully they can at least find somebody. And again, if they have to be aggressive to go up and get that player, I would not be surprised if they did. Hey, Gage, thanks for the live streams. We always appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love these lively chats. I love being able to interact with you guys. So I'm looking to do these pretty much every day. We might miss a day here or there, but given the fact that StreamYard is allowing you to do these simultaneous streams, both horizontal and vertical, I feel like it's been a really good move for the channel. It's brought up engagement. It's brought up subscribers. So I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. But I'm looking at names, haven't watched a second of film on them. Fair enough, but still, I've kind of heard a little bit of the same thing from some other analysts out there. This might not be the strongest receiver class out there. I'll find out in due time. My scouting season, that usually begins right when the Denver Broncos are eliminated from the playoffs. Hopefully that doesn't happen until February for us. Hopefully I don't get to go to the Shrine Bowl this year because I get to go to a playoff game or two instead. I would much rather do that. Stop getting into the shotgun every 3 down 210 times this year. Yeah, I will admit that they are in the shotgun too much. I saw a statistic out there where I think it said they're in the shotgun 9th most out of the 32 teams in the NFL. I would like them to get under center more. I got a bad feeling about this one. I just hope the offense can keep up. That's the collective hope across all of Broncos country, quite frankly. Get under center. Do you think we win? I'm not going to spoil that yet. That's going to be for the game preview video that we put out on Saturday. I will leave it for that. What's up, Gage, and what's going on with the Broncos? Well, this news dropped from Ian Rappaport that Denver nearly signed Stephon Diggs this offseason. It was between Denver and New England, and Diggs ultimately chose New England. So Denver is looking to upgrade their wide receiver room. This news combined with the Jalen Wall news earlier this week or earlier last week, yeah, I think they are definitely looking to upgrade their wide receiver room. Sleepwatch says Brian is going to improve as the season goes on, and Sean Payton talked about that today. He said, or I believe it was yesterday actually, he said that Pat Bryant, he's growing right before our very eyes. So yeah, that's something that I would expect to continue as the season goes on. They need to not be in the shotgun so much. Footwork is essential with that formation, and he is bad right now. I will say footwork is also essential, maybe even more essential under center. The fact that they don't get under center a ton tells me that Sean Payton probably doesn't like Bo's footwork from under center. Even with Russell Wilson, they were under center 28th most in the NFL, or they were under center. They were under center pretty often under Russell Wilson. They're under center. They were in shotgun 28th most, so that would have been a really high under center rate. They are barely getting under center now with Bo Nix. Sorry, I cannot talk tonight, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, they need to get under center more. And the fact that they don't, it kind of tells me that Sean Payton is not a fan of his footwork. The Denver Broncos might go for a tight end. I fully expect them to. How high are your hopes? Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but let's just say I believe Denver needs to play their best football. If I was Sean, I would buckle down and become a run-first team and get receivers and tight ends who can get open on 3rd down. It feels like that's what they've tried to do with J.K. Dobbins. Unfortunately, that injury has thrown a big wrench into things there. What's the difference between sitting under center and shotgun? Well, with the footwork, you're going to have more drops, more steps in your drop whenever you're under center as opposed to in the shotgun. You have a lot more 7-step drops, 5-step drops from under center, and those take time to master. Those footworks, those drops, they really do take time to master. So, yeah, hopefully the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix in particular are able to utilize more under center concepts, both in the run game as well as the pass game. Bert says run the ball. They should run the ball in this game. Again, not having J.K. Dobbins definitely hurts, but Kansas City does not have a very good run defense in terms of EPA per play allowed. We'll talk about that more in the game preview video, but that is definitely something Denver should do. The footwork is his real hole in the cheese. Yeah, it really is. That is the one thing that is really holding back Bo Nix right now. And I've talked about how it's not something you can really easily fix in season. It's more of a 3 or 4 month process where you're investing time every single day in dropping back, cleaning up your footwork, having no wasted movement, and more importantly, trying to tie your footwork to the route concepts, knowing that you're going to hit the bottom of your drop exactly when that guy is coming out of his break, and you're going to be able to get the ball on time, in rhythm, in structure out to your receivers. I'd better see some runs from Bo this time. Don't overthink it and just run. Yeah, hopefully they instill that in him. Hopefully they tell him, if it's not there, don't be afraid to take off. Your legs are a weapon. Use them. Let's go. Been a Broncos fan since 1994, the John Elway days. Welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning in, Andrew. Joe says, sadly, this year's not a good draft for talent in later rounds. Denver's always been good at finding talent in the later rounds, even when it's been kind of dry. So hopefully they continue that theme this year. I trust George Payton. I trust his scouting department. I believe they're going to be able to do that. RJ Harvey, 3 touchdowns, 120 rushing yards incoming. If they do that, if RJ Harvey's able to do that, then I'm very confident the Denver Broncos are going to win this game. Sean won't run the ball given Dobbins is out. We'll make Sean go pass happy, sadly. I do anticipate we're going to see an uptick in the screens. That's why they brought in little Jordan Humphrey, because he can block on these screens. He's actually somebody that's not going to be a liability out there when he's blocking. He will make sure that these screens go for at least 4 yards per clip, as opposed for the 2 yards per clip that they're going for right now. They need to quit making Bo Nix throw 50 times a game. If they're able to run the ball more consistently on early downs, I imagine that the passing game will get a little bit more balanced. We got Roan in the house. Good to see you. Or get some designed runs. Remember that go-ahead touchdown in the Giants game? For sure. But it's also finding that happy balance, because you don't want to be like the Giants with Jackson Dart, where he's got the most designed quarterback runs despite not playing until, I believe, week 4. So you don't want that, because Jackson Dart takes way too much punishment, and he's been in the concussion protocol multiple times. Denver's got to find that happy balance of running Bo Nix, opening up that area of their game, but also preventing Bo Nix from getting injured by taking any unnecessary hits. Every game so far, Kansas City, hard time with the run, especially at 52-80 in the fourth quarter. That's the thing. You want to wear them down. You want to get them gassed up front, especially those big boys on defense. You want them hitting the oxygen tank, and the best way to do that is by consistently running the football. I can see them running more stretch plays to stay away from Chris Jones. I agree. Plus, those plays are more what RJ Harvey does well, as opposed to J.K. Dobbins. That's another reason why I believe they brought in little Jordan Humphrey, because he's a better blocker on some of these outside perimeter runs, these outside zone rushes. So, yeah, that's another reason why I believe they went out and got little Jordan Humphrey back. Yuck, screens, Maverick says. They're effective when you block them well. Denver just has not blocked them well. Pat Bryant's been the only consistent blocker on these perimeter screens. Ingram's not been good enough. Sherfield hasn't been good enough. And that was the main reason why Sherfield was brought in outside of special teams. So, yeah, little Jordan Humphrey is hopefully going to significantly help out in that area. KC has problems defending quarterback scrambles. Hopefully the Broncos recognize that and they exploit that weakness in this game. What other starting quarterback would you say is Bo Nix's comp? Jalen Hurts? I wouldn't say Jalen Hurts. They don't really play the same. Honestly, Vic Fangio's comparison of Baker Mayfield isn't a bad one. When Bo's on, he definitely reminds you of Baker Mayfield, but a little bit more twitchy, a little bit more athletic, a little bit more explosive. So, yeah, honestly, Vic Fangio's Baker Mayfield comp is not a bad one there. I want to say in the Chiefs win in 2023, we ran the ball like 40 times. We did. We did run the ball a ton, and then we were throwing up a lot of jump balls in the red zone. We could see a similar game plan in this one, but also we forced 5 turnovers in that game. That's going to be another key. If Denver wants to win, this is going to have to be the game where they finally get some turnovers. You can block, then run the rock at 52-80 in the fourth quarter for sure. All right, guys, we're going to start winding this thing down here. But before we do, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on this stream as well as subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support, helps tell the old algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And once again, if you want to become a channel member, please consider it. It really does help me out. It helps me out a ton, actually. The link is in the description below if you want to do that. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And until next time, Broncos country, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.